start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Round 6 of the FRL's WTCC series arrives at the elegantly simple lines of one of the oldest tracks in the world, Monza. The race of Italy promised high speed and fast action in the chicanes as the FRL's top drivers looked to make the most of the time left to move up the points standings. Heat 1 began a little behind schedule as connectivity glitches made getting started a difficult task. Once on the track though, the green flag flew and Travis Billingsley made an immediate move to the front of the field of 11 cars. Everyone moved cleanly through the first chicane and the race was on. As they headed into turn 6, Andrew Stepper drifted wide into the corner allowing Ethan Mistry to move alongside for the pass. Ethan drifted up the track on exit and he and Andrew's BMW got together, sending Andrew into the gravel and back to 6th position. Brian Dean was able to make the most of the fracas in front of him and pulled alongside Ethan in turn 7, making the pass. As he maneuvered across the track, Ethan attempted to cross Brian's bumper and position his Audi outside of the number 808 S3, but he didn't have quite enough room and sent Brian into the grass. Andrew would climb back to 5th position and began to battle with Paul Mistry for P4. Paul made his Audi as wide as possible in the straights, and with both machines closely matched in horsepower, Andrew could not pull alongside and make a pass stick. He changed tactics to try and outbrake Paul into the corners, but Paul would check him up at every opportunity. Finally, heading into the turn 1 chicane, Andrew late braked and got alongside Paul. Paul moved over onto the number 001 BMW and tapped him, getting the Apex racing car loose and sent him careening into Ethan Mistry, who was just ahead and making his approach into the chicane. All three would scramble to collect themselves and get out of the chicane. Paul made it through first, followed by Andrew. Ethan would lose out in this battle and drop to P5. Andrew would finally get around Paul after the pit cycle and established himself in P3 for the heat. Further afield, Drew Dilbeck was setting up for hard braking into the second chicane of turns 4 and 5 when he lost control of his Audi S3 and plowed hard into the back of Daniel Fleischmann, turning him around and backing him into the tire barriers at the chicane entrance. Daniel would have to fight hard to recover. Matthew Smith and Nicholas Hargrove would run close to one another for much of this race with Matthew pulling up to but not quite able to make the pass stick against Nicholas. In later laps, Matthew would lock up hard and hit the tire barrier getting into the turn 1 chicane, briefly ending his run on Hargrove's number 5 Toyota. After a round of pit stops for the field, Matthew was able to bypass Nicholas and claim P8 from his rookie rival. Daniel Fleischmann and Tony Therese suffered some early setbacks, but would settle into the flow of the race and advance to P6 and 7, respectively. Travis and Brian would do battle for much of the race at the front, but in the end, Travis did a masterful job of keeping the number 18 Volvo under control and would win the heat over Brian. The second heat would have to wait though as connectivity issues worsened and the event had to be red flagged until Monday night when the second heat would determine the final order for the race of Italy. With the servers running smoothly on Monday night, the FRL continued its race of Italy at Monza. Some of Sunday night's Heat 1 participants were unable to make it for the delayed second heat, but one driver, Owen Henderson, who missed Sunday night's race was able to join in the second on Monday. Drew Dilbeck would take the green flag from the front and held the lead through the first chicane. Down the stretch to the second chicane, Drew would be passed by a hard-charging Andrew Steppert. After a frustrating first heat, he benefited from race start shenanigans off the line and got ahead of the crowd early. After a flying pass around Drew into the second chicane, he would settle into a commanding lead for most of the heat. Travis Billingsley would get a clean start as well and followed Andrew into P2 early on. He would steadily lose ground to Andrew, but would keep pace ahead of Ethan Mistry. Ethan would have to swerve hard off the line to avoid crashing into a stationary Nicholas Hargrove. He and Brian Dean looked to be locked into an early battle, but Brian would swing wide into turn 6 and crash into Drew Dilbeck. Drew had slid off track and was trying to gingerly merge back into traffic. Brian would suffer heavy damage here, even spinning a second time before eventually limping to an early pit stop. Paul Mistry, who finished strong in the first heat, would start from the rear of the field, serving a self-induced penalty for blocking in Heat 1. He would suffer from discomfort during this race and would not be able to advance on the leaders as he had before, eventually winding up in P6. Nicholas Hargrove and Tony Terry would have difficulty at various points of the race and would finish in P7 and P8 respectively. However, despite a P7 finish, Nicholas moves to extend his lead over rookie rival Matthew Smith, who was unable to make the second heat. The race of the evening was between Ethan Mistry and Travis Billingsley. Ethan's Audi was able to tail the number 18 Volvo for 11 laps. Travis would bubble a corner and Ethan would close. Then Ethan would slide out a bit and Travis would extend his lead. But the two cars seemed to have a tether with about a 1,000 featuring limit between them. Neither driver seemed able to separate or close much from the other. That was until Ethan's number 85 S3 needed to stop for fuel. This allowed Travis some breathing room, and a few laps later, he inherited the lead when Andrew's number 001 BMW had to stop as well. Travis would win Heat 2, posting a solid victory at Monza. Andrew would finish second in the heat and with an overall P2 as well. Ethan would benefit from Brian's unfortunate absence at the front, and would finish P3, with an overall 4th place finish. The points races become even more interesting after the 6th event. With 2 more races left at Switzerland and Road America, the points lead is still up for grabs as Travis closes to just 5 points behind Andrew Steppert. Brian gains a few points over Ethan with a P3 overall finish, but only 6 points separate third from fourth. The rookie battle between Nicholas Hargrove and Matthew Smith is still undecided as well. The series heads over the Alps into Switzerland for the 7th event at the Alps Festival circuit.